do you think you're doing? Oh, I guess, never mind then.
Let the record show that Subject 23K's cause of death is cerebral vascular incident brought about by a ruptured aneurysm.
That's an 86% failure rate for this batch. I think we can safely move on to the next.
And I had such high hopes for this one. Oh well, I suppose it could have been worse.
Yeah, they could have ended up like those poor bastards in containment.
What? Thought I saw something. This area is for authorized personnel only. You're not supposed to be here, are you? Oh my laws. That's the meanest thing anyone's ever said to me. I have to go. I promised myself I wouldn't let anyone see me crying on the job. Again. And I was going to escort you out nicely.
Hey, stop that! What do you think you're doing? Just be careful next time.
I can take a hint.
What's this I hear about you ordering more tests performed with sample 4157? That batch failed spectacularly.
I saw a variance in the results that we never accounted for, so I had the techs run the trial again. And the results were 0.003% different this time.
Use the word statistically insignificant. Monday has us all in tanks to help test.
Something. Hey, you! No visitors allowed, citizen. I'm going to need to see some identification. Sure. I've heard that one before. Oh, stop. Stop. I don't want to hear anymore. Just don't let me catch you again without your ID, okay? Thought I saw something. Guess I'm seeing things.
Something on your mind?
stalking, and we're stalking.
Hmm? What was that? Mine's playing tricks on me.
I think we can both agree that Maverick Johnston is the finest director in Halcyon.
I agree with that. But only because Halcyon's aetherwave industry is sorely lacking in sophisticated directors.
Oh, for law's sake. What about All My Colonists? Johnston directed that.
Johnston did not direct All My Colonists. His name was tacked on, much like his endings.
Rizzo's Purpleberry Punch. You want a punch? We've got your punch right here.
I only wish they weren't showing
Anti-Creo's level 10.
Wouldn't it be
Feeling a little off balance? You need a level 10.
Pretend we're strangers. The board's always watching.
Some crew members are causing a disturbance on the ship.
Now, hold on. What happens if we hit the wall?
Most likely, the bullet will ricochet, which could be bad. Or hilarious. There's a tiny chance of a hull puncture, which would suck us into space one chunk at a time. Bad and hilarious.
Ugh. Just imagining that makes me sick.
That's why we don't miss.
Ain't on a ship since my stomach is turning. Thank the void for alcohol.
You have a message from Adjutant Sophia Akande.
No one ever looks quite the same in person as they do in my reports. And my reports of you have been exceptionally thorough. You've had quite a career. I think you're being modest. I've been keeping up with you ever since Emerald Vale. Now that was an interesting piece of work. A rundown backwater, barely worth the ink on a map. Until you showed up. When you cut off power to Edgewater, you saved me a great deal of trouble. Now I don't have to bother trying to save that town. All this happened because some mysterious stranger fell out of the sky. Not always. For the longest time, I could never be sure if you were on our side or against us. You should be back on the Hope, frozen in a hibernation chamber. Yet here you are, flying about in a stolen ship, leaving a trail of paperwork in your wake. The board doesn't know what to make of you, but I do. I've seen your potential. There's so much we can do for this colony. You haven't exactly been keeping it a secret. We raised security on the Hope after Wells broke in. As for discovering the identity of the missing colonist, all we had to do was scan the passenger manifest. Then let me help you make up your mind. You have something I want. I'd like to negotiate. I'm not here to talk about stolen chemicals. I'm after something far more valuable. Your cooperation. Phineas Wells is wanted by the board. I want to convince you to turn him in to us. He has a litany of charges against him. Vandalism, illegal experimentation, sedition. I could go on. Wells is a dangerous madman. His plan is going to endanger everyone in Halcyon. He's an obsessive psychopath. And he's using you. You're in contact with Wells. I want you to send us a tracing signal from his communication terminal. You're making a serious mistake.
Adjutant Akonde's call has been terminated. Will there be anything else, Captain? Now arriving at Phineas's top-secret orbital lab.
I've kept myself busy in your absence, optimized my formula. I'm now confident I can revive the remaining colonists. All I need now is the dimethyl sulfoxide. I'll take as much as you can give me. What? Oh, yes, well, that's obvious. Anyone with 2 working labs can see this colony's slouching toward oblivion. Why do you think we've been doing all this? I revived you to help me save Halcyon from annihilation. Hold on. Let me see if I understand this correctly. You're saying that Halcyon's on the brink of total collapse, and the chairman's plan to save all of us is to save himself? I always knew Halcyon was heading toward a systems collapse, but I never imagined we were already there. The board made this crisis, and now they want to solve it by freezing the rest of us? That's not a plan. That's a goddamn escape clause. That makes 2 things we don't have: time and chemicals to revive the other settlers. None of this was supposed to happen. I was supposed to revive the Hope's colonists. We were supposed to have enough time to solve the problem before we all starved. Human test subjects. Oh, that's grotesque. That's unthinkable. That's exactly what I'd expect out of the board. Damn, that's not enough. Not nearly enough for the whole ship. I could revive a handful of settlers. Maybe, possibly, damn. We're out of time. We're out of chemicals. We may very well be out of options. If the board has their way, we're all going to be spending the rest of our lives frozen in stasis. Do you realize what this means for the Hope? For your fellow colonists? The board's going to kill them all. Toss them out into space, just to make room in their hibernation chambers. Short of lining up every member of the board and shooting them in the back of the head. Do you know what's waiting for us on the Hope? Scientists, engineers, artists, the brightest minds Earth ever sent us, uncorrupted by the board. The board's going to dispose of them all and transform the Hope into a prison for the rest of us. They're likely on their way to the Hope as we speak. We need to get to those colonists before the board. I have enough chemicals to start reviving a few of them, but no easy way to get them off the Hope. Merciful gibbering law, you're a genius! We bring the Hope to us. Skip the entire ship across the distance of colony space, right next to my lab. Yes, exactly. You're a step ahead of me, but I perceive the shape of your plan. If we link up the Hope to the Unreliable, then use your navigational computer to calculate a reasonably safe vector, we can skip the entire colony ship into the rings of Terra 2.
I've got a healthy disregard for personal safety, but this sounds crazy, even to me.
Your instincts are correct. By any reasonable definition of sanity, this plan is crazy. Isn't it wonderful? You'll need to switch on the Hope's auxiliary power using the Unreliable. Then head to the bridge. Your navigational computer, Ada, should be able to activate the Hope's skip drive. Once you've skipped the Hope next to my lab, I'll have easy access to the frozen colonists. I can start reviving them immediately. Certainly. How can I help? It wouldn't surprise me. When I pulled you out of the Hope, the board nearly intercepted me. I expect they stepped up security since my little act of larceny. Skip drives were never designed to be used within a system, but I skipped my ship across Halcyon when I rescued you, and that turned out fine, mostly. That is, I ruined my ship and nearly killed myself in the process, but the maneuver was well within acceptable margins of risk. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Unlikely. The Hope is as massive as the Groundbreaker, but compared to the rings of Terra 2, positively minuscule. The board might notice, possibly, depending on the position of their heads relative to the depth of their collective posteriors. I know you're wondering why I'm doing all this. Why I believe the people on the Hope are the answer to the colony's problems. The Hope is carrying some of humanity's most brilliant thinkers, scientists, engineers, experts in their field. If we work together, we can still find a way to save Halcyon. The board would have us believe Halcyon is beyond saving. I choose to believe otherwise. If there's even the slightest chance we can save Halcyon from oblivion, then we have to take it. Certainly. How can I help?
Can we talk?
So we're really gonna do this? I've seen lots of crazy, Captain, but Phineas is in a class of his own. Do you really think he knows what he's doing? Sending us to skip the Hope into Terra 2's orbit right under the board's nose? Something tells me you're the first person to ever utter those words, Captain. I think this whole plan's insane, but it'll make a good story, you know, if we survive. Speaking of, I get that Phineas thinks he's saving the colony, but what about you? Why risk your neck on this crazy scheme? I'll do anything for a good story, and nothing shines on a pirate's resume like a successful suicide mission. But I asked you first. Coming from anyone else, that would sound like a line from one of those Odeon Pictures movies, but I think you really mean it. Still, all this depends on the other Hope colonists. Are they gonna pull us out of the shit, or are we all just gonna leave a bigger, uglier stain on this corner of the galaxy? This is why I like you, Captain. Well, whenever you're ready to do this, I'm with you. Anything else? What's up?
I won't wish you luck on the Hope. Can't rely on luck. Rigorous calculations and sound logic. That's the ticket. What's on your mind?